I'll stay with Callus.
I hate that name.
After their major success with the Uncharted trilogy, the fine folks over at Naughty Dog decided that this time around they would dabble into the creation of a post-apocalyptic zombie survival game. With the market filled with plenty of zombie games and with the recent success of Telltale's The Walking Dead, it's up to Naughty Dog to take it one step further. But of course, there always begs the question, is it any good? Let's take a look.
I'm alive.
What are you doing?
Killing time.
Well, what am I supposed to do?
I am sure you will figure that out.
The Last of Us takes place all across the US as a new cordyceps-type infection has begun to spread, rapidly infecting millions, causing them to act out in a violent rage against any other living creature. Taking place 20 years after the initial outbreak, you follow the tale of Joel, a smuggler that helps move things in and out of encampments that were put up by the government to defend against the outbreak. Over the years, a militia was formed outside these encampments that call themselves the Fireflies. These people actively attempt to thwart military plans but continue to do so with dwindling success. And Joel is charged with the biggest task he's ever had to face, smuggling a girl named Ellie from one Firefly camp to another. He's not told why, but the payoff is one they cannot refuse. The Last of Us features a strong narrative with some very touching moments. The story and character development is both engrossing and well-paced, that it's by far one of the best experiences out there, rivaling that of films and TV shows. Truly a marvel that only very few developers can pull off.
Sure.
Repeat it.
What you say goes. Nothing, it's just... I've never seen anything like this, that's all.
You mean the woods?
Yeah. Never walked through the woods. It's kinda cool.
When walking into the world of The Last of Us, you quickly realize the attention to detail to everything. Naughty Dog has once again outperformed their previous titles and have ensured that the animations would be nothing but top quality. The way your character interacts with the environment by just simply touching a wall because he's too close to it, or the impact of hitting someone hard with a metal pipe, leads to a satisfying crack that you just don't get in most games. This is a game that is designed to be taken in slowly. The normal pace of the game is simply walking, scavenging, taking in the sights, and observing your surroundings. This isn't a game you sprint through, this is something that you walk through, which matches up nicely with the intense and gruesome realism that this title offers. The voice acting is top-notch, and of course, Naughty Dog has nailed the casting with Troy Baker, the actor behind Booker DeWitt in BioShock Infinite, playing the voice of Joel.
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
Now, I'm generally not a fan of child actors, but as with the recent The Walking Dead by Telltale Games, with Clementine being awesome, this game also made the proper choice of choosing an adult actor to play the role of a child. That's right, folks, adults make good child actors, not kids. And take that, movies and TV. Seriously though, this game has some of the best voice acting I've heard, and not a single moment went by with me going, man, that voice acting was bad, which is super rare. The sound assets are also right up there with everything else. Hearing the crack of someone's face getting smashed in, or the sound of a clicker adds to the visceral nightmares you can get yourself into, or the wondrous beauty of the outdoors. As you play the game, you have a very minimalistic HUD, which is perfect for immersing you into the world without having you feel like you're just still in a game. All of the HUD can also be completely turned off, which is a huge plus when it comes to immersion, which is what this game thrives on. And of course, last but not least, the graphics are surprisingly really good, possibly some of the best I've seen this whole console generation. Sure, it would be nice to have it on PC in 1080p and some anti-aliasing going on, but even still, I never really felt like the quality was bad at any point, so it is quite impressive.
Malik, sit back down.
Oh, sorry, Tess. Didn't realize you two were together. Go ahead.
As As with pretty much any game, if the gameplay is uninteresting or broken, it pretty much ruins the overall experience. Fortunately, with The Last of Us, we are blessed with some of the best mechanics to be implemented into a survival game. For starters, for a game that called itself a post-apocalyptic survival game, it actually does the one thing that so many other survival games don't do, which is actually include the survival part. At no point do you feel like you are a god with a quadrillion bullets to just spray and pray your way to victory. In fact, quite the opposite. You'll have to scavenge the areas around you to look for bullets, materials, and tools to help craft better weapons like health packs, shivs, explosives, and what have you. These items can be quite scarce at times, only locating bits and pieces here and there. By the time you come into contact with either humans or the infected, it's up to you to choose if you want to spend ammo to dispatch them, or just to use your bare brawly fists. Therefore, there is a stealth mechanic that works fairly well. Sure, every now and again you'll strangle out a guy that's screaming loud enough that a person should hear them, but they don't, but that's kind of a rare occasion. The nice thing is that it's challenging to be stealthy and that you are more than likely to get spotted if you don't plan your moves perfectly. When facing the infected, you have to change your tactics vastly from when you're facing a human opponent. Enemies such as the clicker can spot you just by the sound of your movement and will kill you in one attack. Runners on the other hand are like your typical zombie, and they will chase you down until they are either dead or chomping on your delicious flesh. Yum. It's these variable situations that you get into that really diverse The Last of Us from so many other games. One thing that I want to point out, which is a bit silly, is how many situations you get into where you need something to cross a gap and there's always a perfectly sized plank nearby which can be used to cross it. Or how whenever you need to get Ellie across some water, there's always a skid just relaxing somewhere. It just seemed kind of convenient to have these perfectly cut out planks and skids around for me to use. Anyway, putting that aside, on normal difficulty it took my time scavenging and exploring. I was able to clear the game in just under 13 hours. However, there is a new game plus mode, and after initial completion there is a very hard difficulty unlock, which makes the game quite a lot more challenging, but even normal was a challenge in and of itself. Now with this being a single player focused title, you'd think that the multiplayer portion would just be shrugged off as some, oh look, we have multiplayer because everything ever has it. But that is in fact not the case. When first hopping into multiplayer, you choose to be either side with the Hunters or the Fireflies, and you are a leader of a small but growing group of survivors that must scavenge the battlefield for supplies to feed and keep your people safe. The multiplayer takes a lot from Counter-Strike's single respawn and purchasable gear type gameplay. It pits you in a 4 versus 4 battle with limited ammunition and supplies with a map full of goodies for you to grab. Your main goal is to kill the opposing team, but you also are challenged with the task of making sure you have enough resources for your people back home, or else you will have to start your progression all over if they die out. As you kill enemies and scavenge parts, you'll be able to purchase upgrades for your weapons or even armor to protect yourself against headshots and some extra damage. If you have the necessary perks, you can even craft bombs, medkits, and other goodies, just like in the single player campaign. In all, this is a very fun setup for multiplayer, taking from a formula that works and adding its own little unique flair.
Then you give the ball to the other team?
Right, it's called turnover.
And if you clear the 10 yards, then you're back at first down?
First down, that's right.
Man, it's confusing.
You just gotta play it a couple times. It all makes sense.
He figures he's gonna.
With some of the best storytelling to date, with solid performances with all characters, gorgeous visuals, and survival mechanics done right, The Last of Us stands high among many games out there. It even has strong multiplayer that fits nicely with the narrative that engages players to act out not only for themselves but for their people back home. The Last of Us is not perfect, but with all the content presented, it's still one of the best games I've had the joy of playing. The Last of Us gets a 5 out of 5.
Hey, good job, kid.
Thank you for watching my review. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a rating down below and consider subscribing to the channel for more reviews to come. But before I go, I'd like to know, what is your favorite post-apocalyptic game out there? Let me know in the comments below. That's it for now. I'm Ackerman101 and I'll see you guys next time.